Ladies and gentlemen, the most exciting stage show you've ever witnessed.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say,
I feel like I'm going back to school. This sucks.
in our
I know.
opening,
I didn't
love
study.
Art's face the best because he's got that church lady look and that kind
Yes.
of that's the best.
Ain't that special?
Hey, by the way, guys, that little video storytelling thing made that in Canva. See all the fun
Yeah.
things you can do in there? You can do videos. It's so fun.
You know
Anyhow.
what? I went into canva.com today and I had an account already. So I must have made some stuff in there like a year or two ago and just totally forgot about it. So
Hey, what is that organization called that loves kids? Isn't it Canva?
no, that's Manblah or something
Manblah.
like that. Yeah. Not that I know. Not
Wow.
that I know any. I would just speculate.
Aaron led on that one. Wow.
Right off the rails.
Yeah.
Man.
Aaron
Good Lord.
correcting him.
Well, guys, it is the professionals, everybody, the rotating show featuring all of us. Tonight, as you can see, is my night. And as you saw in the title, I found a storytelling test that was used in the mid to late 80s, from what I read, for wannabe editors at Marvel. They would give it to them like, oh, you want to be an editor here? Well, you can put together a sentence, but here, can you pass this 15-question test? So I thought it would be fun for the bros to take it. And I expect flying colors by everybody. Everybody in the chat, obviously feel free to, because I'll be sharing a screen that has the question. It's all multiple choice stuff. And there you go. So
The bigger question is, Andy, could any editors pass it right now?
oh, no. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, I purposely want to fail at this because I don't want to be an editor. If we actually are successful, now we have to be editors. We have to edit each other's books.
Art, you're your own
gotta take a
editor
pay
already.
cut.
Yeah, you got to take a pay cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
But-
Oh, okay.
We're
Okay,
all
but I
editors
get
paid.
free medical though, right? My medical's paid.
no.
We're all
No.
editors by default on our own projects anyway, so we better
That's
be.
true. Traffic managers, business,
Yeah.
marketing.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Spell checkers.
The first comment from Glitch at 9:10 a.m.
Wow.
Hopefully he's watching. Creative Phase in the house. C. Quinn, Shaw artist. Randy Howe, Marcus Kellegrew. Billy Tucci. Aaron Lopresti. Wow. Look at that. Paulus Arts, Mucky, Leg Kick. Lots of great people here. So great. So we're going to get this rolling.
Wait a minute, Andy. Is it leg kick 1 or leg kick 2?
Leg Kick 1.
There's only
I'm
one
waiting for
real
leg
leg.
kick 2 or 3. Yeah.
No, there's only
No,
one real
well,
leg.
Can't be choosy. So, okay, guys, this is how it's going to work. I'll show the question. Everybody write your answer down. Like I said, it's usually just the letter for the answer. And
F for fail.
this is the one thing I would really like. Don't say it out loud. Everybody write it down when everybody has it written. We'll all hold them up. Well, you guys will hold them up, and hopefully they will all be the same.
It's like Final Jeopardy 15 times.
Right. And there's only
Are we
15
betting money?
questions. So
Can we bet money on, like, if we think we'll get it right? I'm going to bet $500 that I get this answer right. Can we do that?
I mean, I don't know who's going to take the bet with you. I'm not.
All right. Okay. I just thought maybe I could make a little extra cash if,
Okay.
All right,
Well,
let's do it, Aaron. Just you and I.
All
this
right.
first question should be a no-brainer.
All right. Here we go.
And I'll read it just in case it's hard for you guys to read, and I'll read it for the audience. What quality above all others should visual storytelling always strive for? A, consistency. B, clarity. C, complexity. D, simplicity. E, duplicity. Ooh.
Ooh, I'm going F.
I knew you were going to do that. There's no way.
Synchronicity.
So everybody write them down and let me know when you have them written down. And
I'm going to let
do
Bill go
this
first.
so we can see them. All right, hold them up. Oh my God, write a little smaller, Graham. I can't read that. No, Aaron.
What? Oh, I thought this was a question about Billy.
All right, so okay, so hold on. Okay, Billy, what did you say?
I said D.
Graham,
B.
Art,
E.
Aaron, B. It's
Clarity
B.
is
Clarity.
clarity. Nothing's more important than clarity.
Clarity.
Except
So.
duplicity. Yeah. Or gay or homosexuality.
All right.
Oh
Let's-
my God.
Let's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Let's move on. Okay.
I'm just going to keep holding up B.
I will say simplicity doesn't bother me, but it is B because it's not that you want to keep it simple, but simple and clear. So,
No,
but there's no points.
necessarily the same thing, though. It's not necessarily the same thing. It could
No,
be.
it's not. But it's
If it's not clear, then
gotta keep
you're
it clear.
losing the narrative. Then people can't understand what the hell you're doing. So clarity is numero uno.
Right.
I've
Let's
always
Okay.
believed.
dealing with,
Which
you know,
which Marvel and DC fail. That
Yeah.
first question.
so this one I don't have separate, and actually one is still part of it.
Okay.
So so this is for 2, 3, and 4, and the answers are A, B, C, D, or E. So for questions 2, 3, and 4, write the letter of one of the multiple choice answers. So 2 is, as a general rule, close-ups are used too, and the multiple choices are A, show action. B, entice the reader. C, establish a scene. D, show reaction. E, startle the reader.
So we're doing 3 numbers.
Well, we'll take them one at a time. So
Oh,
2, as a general rule, close-ups are used 2, and then you can see the choices because I don't feel like reading them again. So
I like startle the reader. Holy shit!
What the heck was that?
Whoa!
is
All right, so we're
everybody
just
ready?
doing one- So we're doing them one at a time. So I'm not writing 3 right at the moment. I'm just writing.
No,
number
Just
2.
one at a time.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
All right. So what do we got? Hold them up, or just tell me. I don't care. Billy, what do you got?
I B C D. Wait. D.
You answered all
C,
3. Just give me the
One
first
at a
one.
time, Billy.
D.
B. Graham.
Billy wants it over with.
D as in dog.
Aaron is gay. We know,
Okay.
Aaron. You don't have to keep telling us. We know.
D.
Aaron feels that now that he's been married for so long and his kids are basically out of the house, he can finally come out of the closet because he feels comfortable. Not with us, buddy. Art, what do you got?
Well, I want to see Aaron show some reaction to the gay statement.
All right. So Art's going with D. D.
I'm going with D. Yes.
D as in dog.
Mhm.
It is. Show.
All right, hang on. I picked that, but I got a question to ask you.
Uh-oh.
And of course, I can't find anything when I need it.
Usually when I do close-ups, I don't show reaction. I just show just nothing.
Right.
Just for the hell of it.
Just for the hell of it.
I get
Just to
so
be
close,
contrary.
I get so close up you can't even tell what it is.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like a
Graham did a panel that was all black, and we're like, "What is it?" He goes, "It's the iris. That's how tight I am on that eye."
right.
Well,
Yeah,
the interesting thing here is you could use it to entice the reader because,
Yeah.
like Graham said, like there's such a thing as kind of a reverse establishing shot. Like, for example, let's say you're in the library. Instead of showing the establishing shot of the library, maybe you start with the stamp hitting a book in a close-up, and then you pull back and reveal the library. So you can use it to entice the reader as well, I think.
Yeah, that's why I always have
Well,
problems
see, I
with
agree with that because you could do a close up of a hand reaching for a doorknob.
Yes.
It's just I think because I've seen this whole test, it seems like they're just coming with basic stuff. So when they say close up, they're literally talking about a face.
All right, so
Right,
let me
I'm
ask you a
assuming
question.
And it says general rule. It doesn't say,
Yeah.
Right.
they're keeping it
Right.
broad.
How do you
Yeah, they're keeping
explain
it
this
broad.
then?
What's that, Billy?
How do you explain this?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
That startled the
reaction.
reader.
that's
That
yep,
startled
that
the
is.
reader.
That
But
is.
also, it's a reaction shot. It's
Yeah.
a
Yes.
reaction.
You get 2 in 1, 2 for the price of 1 on that close up.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Well,
winning. Wow, look at
Number
me.
3, as a general rule, long
Mhm.
shots are used to show action, entice the reader, establish a scene, show reaction, startle the reader.
I like to entice the reader on everything I do.
Yeah.
though.
Me too. Me too.
I can
Yeah.
share this stream on mine. I think we all can.
Go ahead if you want.
Too
not
complicated.
one of the
Man. I'm trying to
questions.
figure out how to
Um,
set
We're
up
already
YouTube.
moving on it. So
All right. So what do we got for 3, Billy?
Really?
I have a 3 is C.
Graham,
see,
Aaron. I knew it.
See,
just say G.
Yes. C,
Yeah.
C, right across the board. The general rule, as we all know, establish a scene. There you go.
Gracias.
And
On my
then
way to do
4.
that, editor.
I can't wait till we get to the visuals, which I believe is next.
I ain't drawn
4.
for this stream.
As a general rule, medium shots are used to show action, entice the reader.
I don't
Establish
necessarily
the
agree with
scene.
it. I know what the right answer is, but I don't necessarily agree with it.
I think there's multiple answers for this one, but
Yep.
Agreed.
yeah.
Well, we'll see what everybody says. They're giving
Just
one because I have the
general
answer
rule.
sheet up. So
I'm going
okay.
gay.
what are we going with?
Gay.
A.
Okay. Graham said A. Billy.
I wrote for the medium shots. I wrote B.
No, for 4. Yeah, medium
Oh,
shot. 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote B because
Billy, you're going to get fired before you even get hired.
Yeah. Okay. Aaron wrote A, and so it's so going by what I have, it's A, which is show action. Once again, it's a general rule. I think showing action is enticing as well.
Mhm.
If you're showing an action shot, it's kind of like, oh, what's?
But once
ooh.
again, this
And
is really
it could be
basic.
E. It could be
Yeah.
to startle the reader too. I mean,
Right.
what if the previous panel was Cyclops and Storm kissing, and then you go to that, you pull back to this medium shot, and the next shot he's punching or knocking her out.
Wow,
Action and
that is
startling.
that's the Sean Connery rule right
Yeah.
there.
that's
I
completely
saw
wrong
it.
because
Captain
everyone
Kirk do it,
knows.
and Gamesters are Triskelion.
Oh,
You
But
know
then,
what,
but then again, this is probably used to basically weed out the weak, right? So if you can't get these basic answers, then they're not gonna go any further with your interview. So
well,
Probably
I think Graham's answer is wrong because everyone knows that Forge would be kissing Storm, not Scott Summers. Thank you very much.
yeah,
I don't
Scott
even know
Summers
what a
would be
forge
making
is.
out with Jean Grey,
Yeah.
or Wolverine.
right?
Well,
Well.
wait a minute. Are we talking about the gay X-Men or the regular X-Men?
Doesn't matter.
Same thing.
Okay.
Oh,
Doesn't matter.
come on. Okay,
Are
let me
any of
blow
those
this up so
questions
you guys
in
can
there?
see it better.
This looks like math.
Nope.
Yeah. We were
Which
told there'd be no math, bro.
there is no math. You don't have to count anything. Which panel arrangements does establish a clear eye path and does not establish a clear eye
Is there
path.
only one correct answer for each, or what's the...
No, there's two for each.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
What
So-
does
So first
and
we'll,
what does
we'll
not.
write what is a clear path.
Yeah, do the clear path first, which
Okay.
would be 2 letters, and then do the not clear path.
Oh,
which is-
okay, I got it.
All right, clear path.
So there's 2 for a clear path.
And there's
Right.
2 for not clear. Yeah.
Boy, these are getting some. real
Folks,
feedback.
you know okay, this is the stacking rule here.
And
this
you know
is
the
Well, after
Europe-
we do the answers, we'll talk about the rules of it and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Europeans break these rules all the time with their layouts.
They can't speak English, Art. They haven't. That's their problem. They can't read English, so they screw it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say they love the D layout.
Mm.
The big D,
The
gross.
big
John
D.
Buscema did all of these, and when he was doing C and D, he would just put an arrow.
That doesn't
I
work.
know.
You know what's true about the also? You get this hot college hot college girl come in for an interview, and she can get every one of these questions wrong, and she's getting hired.
Oh yeah, heck
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's just like in Ghostbusters when Vinkman's interviewing
It's like okay,
the other guy.
you did not get any correct. Just spell your name correctly. And then it's like, damn it, she didn't do that right either. Now what?
Now we
All right,
hire
let's
her.
go for the answers. So first out of the gate, we've got does read or correctly
clear.
clear eye path. Does 2 letters. Does. What do we got? Everyone.
I got A and B.
A and
Hey.
B.
Yep. Graham, it's hard to see A and B. I take it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I can read Aaron's. Art.
Oh, A and B.
There you go. Which leaves C and D, obviously, for the not
And-
clear. Yeah.
And
Process of elimination.
as we all know, you never stack panels on the left side of the page because it's confusing of whether you're supposed to drop down or go to the left and back to the right, which is unnatural. So you never stack on the left.
100%.
You
Once
only
again,
stack on
unless
the
you're
right.
European.
Unless you're John Buscema, because Graham is correct. I have a page on my wall where Buscema stacked on the left-hand side, and it's very confusing. Like it's exactly like D, the exact layout. So you
Yeah.
go, do I go 1, 2, drop down and across, or you go 1 and go across, then back to the, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
You don't know. So
Now,
there's
did John do
one of these layouts
arrows
that
on
I
that one or
never-
no?
Yeah.
Did John do arrows on it? Because
No.
he used to. Oh, he
it's in,
didn't?
it's in Weird World. It's very confusing, but it's a nice looking
Now-
page. But in terms of reading, it's confusing.
But with
Well, I
D,
want to ask you
drop-
guys: is will D ever work? Like D looks like you
No.
could never really get that layout to work.
You could.
No.
Yes, you could.
You could.
Yes, you
if
could.
drop
If you had a motion sequence
Yep.
and the word balloons were following it along, like you start in upper left, then you go to the other one, and then you have the action moving towards the left now, and the word balloons following it. Then you have an S pattern, and it could be a really cool, let's say,
Well, no, a Z pattern. You start at the top left and work a Z pattern.
yes,
right?
yes, Z,
No,
yeah.
but he's
No, no.
talking for like D. Could D work? See, the other thing, I agree
can
with
make D
Graham
work.
about you could, the way you compose the inside of the panels to lead the eye and all that. The other thing I would say is these are just basic. I mean, there's not even any gutters, obviously. It's just lines to separate the panels. I think you could also get D to work if the gutter on the right-hand side of the panel 1 is really a lot wider. And then the first panel maybe overlaps into the second.
Yeah.
The second panel could overlap into that third very tall panel. And by stacking it that way, it would work. Yeah. Hold on, Aaron. I'll make you
Make me
full
big.
screen.
Yeah, but does it
You can see
work?
you can see the problem here, right?
Yeah.
So you've got Mudbutt here eating. This guy's coming alongside him. He hits him and it sticks the meatball in his eye because he bonks him. Well, does he hit him here or does
Yeah.
he hit him here? So are we supposed to go here, here, then down here? Are we
Right.
supposed to go here?
See,
here, and
Aaron,
across?
I don't have a problem reading that because, and I'll explain it. My eye goes right to that with the contrast and everything to the dude with the red hat, right? That's
Yes.
so pale in the first panel. And because of the way his head is angled, I actually drop down right to where he gets the meatball or whatever it is in the eye. And then with the angle of his nose, his head, and that dude's elbow, it looks like. And then the shadow, I go right up to that next panel. Now,
Yeah, but
I
you're
still
still-
don't
it's-
think you
no,
should do
hang on a
that
second.
layout.
You're supposed to go like this and down
Yeah.
here, though.
Oh, is that how you're supposed to read it?
Yeah,
Yep.
because here he's walking by. The guy is still walking by.
I thought you were
Here
supposed
he hits
to.
him.
Oh,
Here
okay.
he hits him.
Now, the white actually works the way John tells this story. But if he had even just overlapped that panel on the left, the bottom panel on the left, panel 3, if he dropped it down a little bit and had it actually, cut into panel 4, then it would have been really easy to read because that white
Well,
helps your
Look
eye.
what he's doing here, though, right? This arm goes right into the
Yeah,
shadow, which is
That's
very
why I thought it
interesting.
read that way.
But why would you do this? Go like this and bring your eye all the way up here, then expect it to drop all the way back down.
No,
here,
I know. I know.
Right?
It's also
That's why you don't do this, folks. 'Cause
It's
Right.
also-
Exactly.
It's also the way he's showing him being bumped. I mean, that doesn't even make sense for a guy's hand to go sticking a meatball in his eye. The way he's like maybe clipping his shoulder a little bit, his opposite shoulder.
Right.
That doesn't
Well,
even work.
I think what he's trying to say is he hit his head, which turned his head right into the meatball. I guess.
Oh, he
I
hit
don't
his
know.
head.
You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Steve, all right, it's unclear.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, it's
very
unclear.
confusing, but it's a beautiful piece of artwork. But
yeah.
This is why it
Oh,
took
it's
John
gorgeous.
Buscema
It's
so
gorgeous.
long to get work
Terrible
at Marvel
story.
because he couldn't pass this test.
yeah, I know.
That's right.
Let me just go back to D here. Okay. Now imagine this: that panels 1, 2, and 3 on D have the exact have one background, and it's on the background is just split by those lines, right? And then you have in the upper left hand corner Spider-Man swinging. He goes over to that second corner. He hits the
Yes.
wall, bounces down and left to the other panel, all with the
Yes.
same background.
Yes.
That
Well,
would
that's a
make that
very
more
Neil
clear.
Adams. Wouldn't you say that's kind of a Neil Adamsy thing that he might do? And it would
Yeah.
work. That
Yeah.
would work.
Well, you remember that one
Absolutely
page
work.
Neil did with Batman? I'm trying to remember. He was jumping off a roof or something high up, and then he swung down
Yeah,
into the window
I
or
still
some
don't
shit.
think that page works, though. I still don't think it.
Yeah,
works.
I agree, but it was as Joe Kubert would say, a hell of an attempt.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell of an attempt. I love that.
But just
All
for the
right.
rookies at home that are listening, don't try D. This is better left to the professionals.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
even
think
the
it
professionals
goes.
screw it up.
I think it goes into the category of don't break the rules until you know them, and then
Yeah.
like we're discussing the different
Then
ways
make
it can be
them work.
done. Then you can do it.
Then again, fortune favors the bold. So have at it, kids.
Well,
There you go.
the thing is, though, you have to understand the first time you look at a page, we're programmed on how to read comics, and what that page I just showed of Buscema, they're saying, oh, it works because that shadow takes you down this way, but the problem is that's not instinctive. You're going to go, and you're going to be the first time you look at that, you're going to be confused. You're going to try and figure out which is supposed to go first. And then you might, after looking at it for a long time, go, oh, that shadow comes down here and he was going for this and all that kind of crap. But your initial reaction is confusion, and that's what you want to avoid.
Now,
Yes,
what if
exactly.
the editor taking this test is Japanese? Then C and
Oh,
D work,
shit.
and A and B don't work.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn it!
It goes in reverse. Remember, you guys, clarity is the rule.
clarity.
All right, I
Clarity.
expect everybody to get this one. Which panel has weak, unclear eye path balloon placement? The man on the left is speaking first.
Okay, wait. Say, okay,
So there's one answer here.
Just one answer. Which panel
Yes.
has weak, unclear
Weak,
eye path
unclear eye
Balloon.
path balloon placement? The man on the
Man
left
on the
is speaking
left
first.
speaking first. Which panel has weak?
Oh, the man on the left is right. Yeah.
Oh, it's obvious. It's easy.
Yeah, it's a gimme.
Come on,
Yep.
man. Come on,
Everybody-
man.
Just say it, Billy. What is it? Just say
I'd
it.
say B. I'd say B
Yep.
because I wouldn't do that.
Art.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, B, it crosses the figure. It's unnecessary.
Yep, it's B. So there you go. This has got to be like when I went through this originally when I first got it a month or so ago. I was like, oh my god, just I think my wife could probably get this one right. So.
Well,
You know what's horrible about this though is that I've actually got jobs back that were lettered like that. You know what I mean? Like where they, it's like they went out of their way to do it wrong, and I'm like, it took me an hour to do that figure, and you just put a balloon right over it.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever left space for balloons and then the letterer didn't put it in the space you left? And you're
Right.
like,
I did.
Why do you think I left? It's just crazy.
Dude, I did an issue in this issue of Green Lantern. I did the first panel took up the top half of the page, and it was a big shot, extreme foreshortening with Green Lantern's, hand in the foreground doing a power thing, led back up to his body, torso shot, whatever. The upper left-hand side was perfect for the word balloon, right? Perfect. Left space there and everything. The letterer or editor, whoever chose, the word balloon was right over the center of his chest.
Wow.
And I'm just like, what about that negative space in the upper left of that pen where you wouldn't have overlapped anything?
The only real good example is C.
Yeah, C looks nice.
That's
A is
that's
just
the perfect. That's the best solution.
Yep.
A, of course, would be the second best, but I don't like the balloon in between them because it's distracting.
Right.
Right.
It gets in the way of them looking at each other. And
Right.
D
Yeah.
looks like, his butt is talking.
Right.
Yeah. It's like
Or his elbow, whatever that's pointing to.
Yeah.
He's speaking out of his ass.
Now-
It's funny. I've had letterers tell me on Wraith of God, like, "Hey, you don't have to give me word balloon placement." I go, "Yes, I do."
I do as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm not taking any chances.
again.
really,
though,
I don't do balloon placement for Steve on any of the stuff he letters for
Really?
Oh,
me.
I don't do
No,
it for
and I-
Carlos either.
Honestly, and I'd say out of in a percentage basis, I probably adjust maybe just 2, maybe 5% of what he does, and it's minor. It's like just nudge this here or
Mhm.
put this here.
I often see them put it in the right place, but they'll drop it down just a little bit so it's not on the frame line and cover up part of the drawing. I'm like, dude, just push that up a little bit. I sometimes stuff that they don't see amazes me, but
It's aesthetics. It's just
Yeah.
aesthetically better place to put it. One of the things that bugs me, and you still see it all the time, is like there's writers that won't rewrite for the image, right?
Mhm.
Like
Right.
they'll just be like hard fast. Who gives a shit? I'm gonna put 4 balloons in that one panel, whether it fits or not. It's like you could either edit it down or you can. We all do this. You can have them say part of it in the next panel,
Right.
or you can kind of space these things out. You don't have to say everything in that one panel, and especially at the cost of like over half of a face or like
Yeah.
some important backgrounds or something like that. It's like, well, then what are you doing at that point? You're just fighting at you're at cross purposes. And that one rule, clarity. Well, you know what? Writers need to learn that too.
Yeah,
Well, I
the
think
other thing they can do
I think
too
we
is
all
break it up. Like if it's written as a single word balloon, but the artwork doesn't allow that single word balloon to be on there without obscuring it. Well, break it up, make it
Right.
2 balloons or 3 balloons, and have the connectors going so that you can move it around the artwork and still have it clear.
I'm
Yeah.
constantly going in and rewriting my dialogue and saying this has to be shorter because it's taking up too much room. So I'll go back and make it the dialogue more efficient so it fits in a smaller space. You just got to do that sometimes.
What
Yeah,
is
there
the
are
rule?
writers
Is it
out there.
15?
I remember
go ahead.
talking to editors at DC, and they said, yeah, some writers are just like, nah, once I turn it in, I don't care. I don't need it sent back to me to look at the artwork and see if I need to make adjustments. I wrote a full script, it's done. And I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Well,
Yeah.
what
Or
about
then maybe
framing?
the editor should do,
Yeah.
in
Is that
and-
the editor's responsibility then to come in and cut dialogue so it fits? I think so. If the
Yeah,
I
writer
would
will do
say,
it.
but
what is the basic rule? Is it 15 to 20 words per balloon? Like no more than, is it 15 or 20 words? Or is
Well, are
it
you
12 or
following
20?
the
I didn't know there was a
Claremont
rule.
or
There is an aesthetic, an aesthetic rule. It's like, and it's also supposed to be usually, I mean, there's always exceptions, like we figured out with all of these things that we're going over now. But it's usually one thought per balloon, right? Or one idea per balloon, unless they're related and they're not like 30, 40 words each thought.
Now I'm curious because I happen to have my Nate, I don't even know if I pronounce his name right, comic book lettering book here by Nate Pecos.
You could do it like this, like if there's like,
Yeah.
you could break it up into like 15 words, or I'm just kind of roughing it in there.
Yeah.
But usually not more than that, because then it gets awkward and it's too big to fit in most panel compositions.
I really like the adjoining balloon because I've done that a lot where I've had one balloon.
I like
it was just too big and it's covering, and they go, well, if I break this into 2 adjoining balloons, then it can work with the artwork better. So
yeah,
it also, by
nice.
doing the multiple balloon or the adjoining balloon, is that it affects the pacing of the dialogue. So you can actually have it be more dramatic that way by having it in the next balloon rather than one long paragraph.
Right. Because also you want to move the reader along, and so if it looks like it becomes like a paragraph or something like that, then it also slows down the eye and slows down the experience, which is you kind of want to read it quickly because that's how it works best. If you have to slow down, think about it too much, or it gets awkward with the balloon placements or too many words per balloon, then it gets problematic.
right, and then I got people spending too much time looking at my artwork and going, this really isn't as good as I thought it was. So I need to move them along.
You got to move
Yeah.
it fast.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to
Right.
see here.
Yeah, nothing to see
But
here.
then again,
Oh, that's
if I may, if 21-year-old Shelley Rogers walks in and wants that assistant editing job, and wow, you picked D, Shelley? That's very interesting.
You're hired.
You're hired.
You're
She
hired. Now
picked-
go get me some coffee.
She picked the big D.
Hey, now.
Okay, this one, which panel has the clearest depth of field?
Clearest depth.
Clearest depth of field.
Hmm,
All right. I know what
Okay.
I'm going to guess.
I got this.
Yeah, I'm with a Graham C.
What do you got? Yep.
C.
What do you got, Art? I
It's
can't read
C.
it. What to say?
I'll do it darker.
He's a C. He's got a C too. He's
I'm a C guy.
He's an F and C.
So everybody said C.
C's get degrees.
Everybody's correct. C it is.
Right?
I don't even know what kind of rendering that B is on that ball. That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so this one actually gives a reason. It says C. The cast shadows are distinct from the shaded sides, and the roundness of the balls conveyed better. So
Well, and also
Not
gives
good, but better.
it gives the back wall, giving the back wall texture helps separate it from that cylinder or whatever it is there in the middle as well.
right.
I mean,
Yep.
B works okay, but C's better.
Yeah.
B's like, well, I was going to say B's kind of like Alex Toth, except for that crap rendering on the ball. But I mean it from the standpoint of without the textures and stuff, just
Yeah.
It works.
more
It's
high
cool
contrast.
wall,
But yep, see it is. Look at that. All right, what's next?
I do like the shadow of the ball on that column.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
like
Well,
that.
it helps establish,
Yeah.
the balls in the foreground. I guess the column's middle and the pyramid is,
Mhm.
I mean, let's
background,
be
whatever.
honest. All this shading is crap, but it could be done better. But yeah, anyway.
Also, the drawing of the pyramid in A is just horrible.
It's just it's garbage.
They just
Yeah, I
phoned
would
it in.
fire
They
whoever
didn't even care.
put this test together is where I would start.
I'd like to know who did it.
It's probably Shooter.
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
You're
so
probably
this
right,
one,
Sam.
this is a fun one. Which page has the weakest action flow continuity? So
Yeah,
the
I
weakest.
Which page has
Wait, I gotta blow this up.
I was gonna say, do you want me to? I can blow up on 2 at a time, but I can't. You know what I mean?
If you
And
just
we need
blow
to
up
see
the
all
screen would be
4.
good.
I would say that shot of that car coming straight forward is pretty bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't use that shot at all. Quite.
Yeah.
I would.
frankly.
This is
also
like
wouldn't
Hanna
do it.
Barbera. Like this is like Hanna Barbera. Like profile front shot.
I would never have that car traveling from right to left either. in the
Yeah.
front.
Yeah, neither would I. But
I'd start it
that was
the
the
other
first
way.
thing I noticed. I'm like, who the hell designed this? Why is that car going that way? But
They all suck.
Yeah, all
but
these are bad.
one of them does stand out with
Alright.
what they ask in the question, which is the weakest action flow. So,
Oh, so we're
flowing
looking for the
from panel
worst
to
page,
panel.
not the best page.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're picking the worst action flow, and there is only one.
There's only one.
There is.
That remains to be seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is hard because these all suck,
Yeah.
but a couple of them suck pretty hard.
I'm going to go with C.
Wait a minute, I'm not done yet. Hang on a second.
Yeah,
Let me
sorry.
think here.
No, it's okay. You get just say the number. Just say the letter out loud. It's fine. So Billy's a C. Okay.
Okay, A is okay. I'm okay. B's okay.
Turns.
I think
See, C works for me because he sees the car,
right now.
speeds
Look,
up,
turning.
turns away, and now he's happy. He's driving away.
Yeah, he's looking at his rear. He's looking at his side mirror. Is that what he's doing to make?
yeah, but look at and C panel 3 to 4. You got the car going in opposite directions. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's got to look at the. He's got to be like B and look it through his side mirror before he makes a turn, right? For B.
This
Well,
is
he's
like
a
trying to
law-abiding
polish.
citizen, yeah.
I'm going with C.
turd.
I don't care. I don't fucking care. I don't.
I
Care.
These are all
B-
bad. This is a trick question.
I think B works okay.
I didn't even know which guy this is. Is he in the car or is he in the
Yes.
truck?
He's
Can
the
I-
driver of the van or whatever that is.
Wait, is
Can
this
I-
the same vehicle?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it
Lord.
is.
Yes.
Oh, this is only one vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Can I call? Can I call 21-year-old Debbie? Debbie Steffens to come up here and give it.
Yeah, let's go. See,
You
her
feel
answer is
free.
going to be as good as any of ours.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not even going to answer this. They're all bad. The
Yeah.
compositions are
You've
bad.
got now. You got to answer it, dude. I'll be honest. When I first read this, I picked the one pretty quick. I think you guys stop looking at the shitty artwork.
But the shitty artwork is confusing because I thought there were two vehicles. I thought there was more narrative going on here. Like a guy
Nope,
was
it's the guy that here's the narrative. The guy's driving. He looks behind him, realizes he fucked up, and he has to turn.
Well, the worst one has to be C because that first panel is cropped really horribly.
I think C is bad because you go back-to-back shots of that car.
Of the car, yeah.
That's
I say C as well.
I'm going to go C as the weakest.
Graham.
I'm trying to adjust for the new narrative.
For the new storyline.
Yeah.
I think what the best one is D.
Yeah, I think D
I
is the
agree
best
too.
too.
So which
Although
one are you saying, Graham?
You could make a case for A.
I'm gonna say
okay.
B seems like the worst one to me.
Well, he's got to
Okay.
look out his window. Yeah.
I'm going to give the answer, and I'm going to explain it. So before any of you guys pipe in, let me explain it.
We all
D
got
is
it
the
wrong.
worst one.
Which one?
D, and I'm gonna blow up on D, and that's what she said, and explain it. Okay. You got the van.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about D. D is the answer. The van is going, right to left, which is bad. Doesn't matter. That's bad. The
They
problem
all have
is
that.
the second panel, the camera breaks the 180-degree rule.
The whole thing breaks 180. Every one
No,
of these
no,
does.
no. Let me finish. Let me
All right.
finish. It doesn't. So you break the 180-degree rule in the second panel, then you go back and swing it back properly to where the camera would be, and then it goes to a straight-on shot, and then the truck turns.
Well,
Now,
I'm going to
I-
argue that, Andy, because you
I'm gonna
can't
argue it
break
too.
the 180 rule until you establish something, and you haven't established the interior of that vehicle yet.
Yes, you have.
No, you haven't.
He's on
You're
the
seeing it
left-hand
for the
side.
first
He's
time. You're
driving
saying-
it.
He's
He's in America. We drive on the left-hand side, so he's on the left-hand side.
left-hand side.
What's that?
He's on the left-hand side of the car.
But you swing the camera too far around. What I mean is,
He's going
Look
a
at this
different
one.
direction. He's going a different direction. I get that. But
Right.
let me argue this. Pull it back up to D.
Hold on. Let me just go
No.
through them, and then we can, because I
All
knew this one. I knew this one was going to be the one. In A, he's going left. He's going right to left, and then the camera zooms in. All it does is zoom in and kind of go a little behind as he's looking over his shoulder. Then it goes to the front. Going to the front doesn't break the rule, and then he actually turns. So it's shittily drawn and everything, but you see the motion of him turning. So the last panel makes sense with the camera angle now in A because of him turning in the panel before.
Well, I think
but
A
B
is
is more
probably one of the best
successful.
ones. I think.
Well, I'm
A-
not
I-
saying which is more successful. I'm just saying there's one going by this, and I agree with it. I think D is the proper answer. All
Okay,
they
but
did
D
was
is-
take
D
all
is
these
the word-
panels and rearrange them like a puzzle.
Hang on a
In
second
B,
now. Hang on. Go show C and D. Pull it up. No one cares
Okay.
about D. Okay, look at. Okay, C blows because look at, you start with him looking over his shoulder, then you go to the neutral shot in 2. That's C, right?
Yep.
Then we're going left to right, or pardon me, right to left. But then you hook down. Talk about going 180. Now you're drawing the reader over here. Then you're drawing him back the other direction.
no. You're looking at, okay, so I think
But look at D. Hang on. Let me say this and I'll shut up. Okay, so then D, right? Look where the guy is in panel 1. You drop directly down to him, and then it goes down right to him looking over his shoulder, down to this car that's neutral, and then car turning. That is actually a smoother line following the action.
but
than every other one.
here that's not the question. You're talking
It said
about
action flow, didn't it?
you're talking about
Action.
you are talking about the action flow, but there's I read action flow two ways. You're taking it from the leading the eye,
Yes.
right?
'Cause he's
I
all
don't think that's
flow.
what they're talking about.
Right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is leading
Because
the
I
eye.
look at C and I go, okay, so we're starting the shot with I'm looking at these shitty drawings like a storyboard somebody would do for a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So we look at C and we're tight on the driver looking over his shoulder, right? And then we do the straight on shot, which you can do. And then the camera pans back to the side view, so it's still going the same direction as the first panel. And then the camera pulls back for the overhead shot as the car turns. And then the very last panel of C lines up properly with the direction the car is moving.
Yes. However,
Now it doesn't. Now I know what you're talking about eye flow, but I'm not looking at any of these for
right,
eye
I get
flow.
that, but don't you think and see that the two car shots right in a row is jarring?
No,
Yeah.
because it's all about the camera flow, the camera movement, not
Mm.
how the person stacked the panels.
But you know what? Also, the question isn't written correctly. It says weak action flow. It doesn't say continuity or movement or what is that? The left-right rule,
Yes.
camera crossing.
Well, it
the
says
plane.
action flow continuity.
Well,
Can you imagine taking this test and us getting in fights with the editor when they tell us we're
Yeah.
wrong?
I would tell
And
the
then I was
editor
saying
look,
they're
all of
all
these are
shot-
bad examples, and this is bullshit.
That's exactly what I would say. This is some of the worst storytelling I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Question number 8 gives me a headache.
I like that we're trying to legitimize
So,
which one's
so
better.
this
They're
is
all
this is
bad.
their
They're all
this is their
really bad.
summation. This is their summation because they did give a little sentence of why D. It says D, the action keeps flipping back and forth.
B or D?
No, D, the action keeps flipping back and forth.
I agree.
That's
that's
the worst
called
one.
interest. That's like
But it does follow an eye path though, so you could argue that it works, even
Yeah.
though it sucks.
But I don't think
it
they're
also
talking
breaks
about
it
eye
up.
path of leading the eye around the
That's
page.
part of it.
I think this is so bad. If we go back to Graham's initial assessment of this layout, he thought there were 2 vehicles. This is really bad. All of these are
See, I got to
really
be honest. I
bad.
never, when I first saw this,
went-
I never
I
thought
went
there were
through
2
a change.
vehicles. I
thought
only saw
they were-
one.
I thought there were 2 vehicles too because I thought there was a van, and then I thought the front view was a sedan.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
So I didn't think they
Oh
were the
no,
same
I just took
car.
it as the same
Yeah.
shitty
And
drawing.
why is he
when-
looking in his rearview mirror? He's trying to look to see what's behind him. It's the car that's chasing him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Andy, which one of these is the suckiest again? I can't remember what you said.
It's
D.
D.
B is the wrong answer.
No, D or B?
D is in dog.
Okay.
The last one is the worst storytelling. But I agree with you, Aaron. I think it's the most interesting, and the flow is the best.
I got to be honest. I can't take D because of that 180-degree rule break from panel 1 to 2. Just drives me crazy.
So
My favorite is the third panel because he's looking back.
What was that, Graham?
I say I disagree in that the term 180 rule doesn't apply here, because you have to establish your interior before you can break that, or your background scenery before you can break that 180 rule. So like if we were looking at that first panel and we established the inside of the car, and there was, let's say, a hairbrush on the passenger seat, and then you flip it around the other way, that's going to break the 180 rule. Because you've established.
I don't know. I just think that's over analyzing, because like I said, we all know we're talking about the States, not the UK. So we all know that in that first panel, that dude is on the left-hand side because he's driving. So in the second panel, the camera goes all the way around to the right-hand side looking at him.
Yeah, but you know what?
Right. But now the driver is looking the way we're going to look. So like, because we are Western, we look from left to right. We read from left to right. So we're following his view now. We're now moving with him in the car, which is all screwed up by the fact that the car is going the wrong way when we're first introduced to it.
Right.
Oh,
Right. It should be going from left to
That
right.
was one of the big. When I first saw the page, the first thing I thought was like you all did, which is like, why is that car going in that direction in that first panel?
Well,
And then my next question is like, why these compositions? These are all horrible compositions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few good ones. I think
go ahead, Art. I'm sorry.
it's the two car shots are actually the worst.
Yeah, I think so. Now, Graham has an excellent point, because you can look that establishing shot of the van. There's no background. That is essentially a neutral shot that you can then jump. I mean, I know what you're saying, Andy. It is literally going from right to left, and we're switching it up. But because there's no background or any sort of environment, I look at that almost as a neutral shot. And I also will say that I've been in arguments 2 times on jobs I did with editors where I was trying to keep the 180-degree rule, and they said, no, do the eye flow because it looks better. And they were right. And so I changed stuff, and I broke the 180 rule because the eye flow was more important than.
No, I've broken it. I'm sure all of us have broken it. But once again, I think when it's done right, you don't notice it, because it's just one of those things. You know the rule, you break the rule. Because when you're composing the panels and stuff for the flow, you can make it work.
Yeah.
The main problem is it starts with one panel, and that's the van. No matter where you put it into this storytelling, is going the wrong way. You take D, you flip that van panel, and you've got a beautiful piece of narrative.
Yep, I agree. So screw you, Andy.
Hey, screw you!
Yeah,
I didn't write it.
Because the thing is, if
you're going to love the next one.
If you do that on D, then you have the movement going there, then down across, and then down across, and then he's looking in the rearview mirror, which brings you back to the straight-on shot of the car. And then the last panel, this is D I'm talking about, is my favorite, because you're ending the page with kind of like moving on to the next page.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your eye is going, to the next page. So as far as flow and layout, I think D is the most successful. And like Graham says, if you just flip that first panel, then you have a good page, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you have a page.
You have a page.
Well, we have a better page. Yeah, we have a better page.
A better page. There you go.
All right.
There we go.
So for this one, you basically, I can read the stupid little plot if you want, but it basically says which panel would be the best setup, first panel, for the page on the right. So A, B, C, or D, and the plot says a woman we've never seen before enters her bedroom and goes over to a mirror over a chest of drawers to check her makeup. Unnoticed by the woman, the curtains on a window near her start to move as the window is opened and a slight breeze blows in. A man then begins to crawl in through the window and startles the woman. She picks up a lamp from the chest of drawers and throws it hard at the man. What panel would you use as the first panel out of A, B, C, or D?
I'm going to get myself in trouble, but I think it's obvious, and it probably won't be now that I said that. But I've got it.
Okay, I personally, so I would say D, right?
I would agree.
But I would not have her. Well, I would open up with her on panel A, actually already checking her makeup. Why?
Yeah, it seems better,
You
right?
don't need to have her enter the room because
You don't.
it doesn't add anything.
No,
I know, but we got to stick to what the question is and stuff.
I like that, Billy. Start with her look close up of her looking in the mirror, then pull back.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with. I don't have a. That was the thing. I don't have a problem with that either. I was thinking all the same shit, but I was just going by the question.
Who the hell at Marvel drew this shit?
I have no idea.
You couldn't take like Buscema pages or Kirby pages and cut them up.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Billy says D. Aaron said D. Graham. Art says D.
Pressure's on, Graham. You got to go D.
Well, D would be. But the only thing that throws me here is that they make clear that a woman we've never seen before. So we're seeing her right here. So what does it matter whether we've ever seen before, unless we see her in silhouette, and then when we see her in panel 2, we realize she's somebody.
Yeah.
But again,
That was my caveat, but you should never establish a character in silhouette, right?
But we're
Is that
not.
it?
We would be establishing her in panel 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she's moving the wrong way again for way she's standing, and that kind of throws me.
Yeah,
Right, but yeah, you could, if you flipped her, made her less of a silhouette, B would be probably the best dramatic way to start this.
Yeah, D is boring as heck, but at least it's clear.
Yeah. Well, it says a woman we've never seen before enters her bedroom, so we have to have an establishing shot of the room of her walking in. You know, of
Right,
full shot
right.
of her walking in.
And
There's
but you're
also
not.
no full figures. I always apply to have at least one full figure on every page, even if it's small, right? If it's
Same
a
here.
bird's eye shot or something.
But I agree with Billy. A close up of her in the mirror is the best way to start this page, and then pull back maybe a little bit more in panel 2, so we get a little better shot of the room.
I know, but
but
you're overthinking it, because remember, this is they're just going for the basics of, like, let's see whoever's taking this test if they can pass kind of the basics of storytelling. So go back to the question where it was, what was it? It was number 4, I think. What's the general use of a long shot? And it's to establish a scene.
No, I get it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be D, but most of these are so bad.
Okay.
So it is D, because
Graham
it's a
and I
clear
agree.
establishing shot, and it sets up
Graham
the
and I agree.
bedroom, so you can see all the aspects. You see where the window is, you see where the dresser is, you see her, because it's somebody we've never seen before. So they're going with the first panel establishes who the chick. So it's D.
Well, let me ask you. Okay, so we agree it's D just because it's a stupid test, but the thing is, like Billy came up with, like, putting on the makeup, like, that is a great. You talk about establishing shot. It has every element that you need in that panel. The lamp is established, the mirror is established, the open window is established. That is a good establishing shot. Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily see the whole room. You just need to see the components of the storytelling. What you need.
Billy, you're hired again.
Yeah, panel 2 could then be pull back a little bit of her. You see the room, and then you see the guy's silhouette looking. You know, you see a shadow, a silhouette in the window. In the back.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a dozen different ways to make this, punch it up and make it better, just by going from that little plot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And none of on the right is the right way.
Screw whoever came up with this.
Yeah.
Stealth X5 for $2. Hello. Okay.
I love the depth in that last panel where she's like facing you, but she's throwing the lamp behind you. We have a complete horizontal background, and this guy is going backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I would have done? I would have had him in the foreground and had that lamp shattering on his face.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
All right.
So
I like also
What else
that
you
she's got the hairstyle of like the 70s or whatever. Like,
Wait a minute. What if the guy driving the van ran through the wall and killed her? Now we've
there's
got
an opening shot.
Yeah,
There you
Oh,
go.
that's the van driver. Yeah,
Yeah.
going the
we should
wrong
make
way.
all these panels one story, like all the stuff we've seen, and make a comic out of it.
Yeah, cut it up.
Yeah, you can cut it up, and that would be a fun show. Actually, we'd have to take
Oh, I
all
gotta-
the part we've seen, and then let the guy drive. The dude
Oh,
driving.
wait, here we go. I didn't see this one. Sorry, Ali by golly for $2 says, so refund from everyone who fails, right?
Hey, we've had one controversial miss.
There's no failing. Thank
Yeah.
you, Randy. I didn't see that. All right,
You know
let's
what?
go to the next one.
We're all winners tonight.
That's right.
That's right.
Including-
Okay.
Ain't that right, Billy?
Which
right.
is the clearest action/reaction example?
Action reaction. Okay.
And by the way, I don't agree with there's a little written sentence, that they say next to what they call the right answer. And
It's
I
gotta
guess
be,
maybe back then they
gotta
did
be
that,
B.
but I
Gotta
don't
be
technically
B.
agree.
It's
Yeah,
got to be B.
Yeah.
I mean, shooting that dude in the dick.
I know. That's right. Ouch. That
So we-
Dialogue is ow my dick.
So is everybody going with B?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
It is B. It
sometimes
is B, and it says B, and it says always show action and reaction in the same panel.
Not always, but whatever.
No, I don't agree with that either, but
Well, yeah, I mean, the question is on C, it's like, how long does it take a bullet to get to the guy? I mean, C works depending on.
oh
how you
yes, I
play
mean,
it,
they
but-
all work.
Well, yeah,
Well,
I
D
guess.
doesn't work because we don't
No,
know that.
D doesn't work because you never see D's after. Like the
Yeah,
guy's
A's
standing there, and you're
A's
like,
is
yeah, I guess he
terrible.
shot him.
Yeah.
A's terrible.
But
Now, you could use A if you already established their relationship in the room together before you
Right.
go to A. Then
Right.
That would work. But just like that, it doesn't.
and I mean, Marcus does bring up a good point. This had to be during the shooter era of Marvel.
That's what I guessed. I said when somebody said who put this together, I said it's probably Shooter.
It
Yeah.
has
Well,
to be.
I remember having
And drawings too, because the guy can't draw.
yeah these editorial conversation. I remember talking to Jim Shooter, and he was like, I just want to let you know, because I turned in a page. He goes, never break a panel border, and he said your reliance on Zipatone is wrong, and so I just chose to focus on the broken panel. I go why? He goes, because all the action has to be within that frame. He said, when you go to a movie theater, when you watch a movie, he said, it doesn't break past the movie screen. And I said, listen, Dick, if you could break the board, if you could break out of the screen as a storyteller, would you not take advantage of that? Like, I would in a heartbeat have shit flying out of the screen. Like, why wouldn't you do that? It doesn't make
a stupid argument too, because when you read a comic, you don't hear a soundtrack either.
Yeah.
right.
They're two different media.
Yeah, they're absolutely two different things. Exactly.
Right, but I just thought it was ridiculous, and I just felt like I didn't want to take it at that moment, because I mean there are bad examples of breaking panels. Like I could agree with them there. Like a lot of the unnecessary stuff that Neil Adams does. Not that I want to pick on Neil today, but anyways, like some of that stuff is a little confusing, and you can really mess up the eye flow with too many broken panels. But if it's done right and sparingly, it can enhance the reading experience.
Mhm.
And so I always think, like, why would you want to limit your the toolbox, right? The things that you could do. Because I remember talking to Mark Miller as well, because if you remember, like his Ultimates and stuff, there weren't any sound effects.
Oh
And
no,
I remember talking to him about sound effects. He goes, well, I think they're cliche and whatever. I said, well, what you created in your books is there's no sound. There's only people talking. There's no sound. And I said, you're kind of limiting yourself storytelling, because sometimes, like, you could hear a phone ring and not have the phone in the room, right? You could have two people talking, bring, and then it's like, oh, they're reacting. Then the next panel is they're picking up the phone or whatever. You know what I mean? Or a car screech outside. You know, you don't see the car screech, but you can hear it. These are all storytelling elements that you could use. So why would you not want to do that?
Yeah.
But anyways, I think it's just kind of stylistically something. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule. I just think it's a stylistic thing, you know, to stand out from other books. And so I can abide by that, but I can't abide by, you know, like, you know, if you went to the movie theater, you know, that whole Jim Shooter thing, I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. If filmmakers could have things fly out at you 3D style, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, and you know, Jim, I've talked. He never said that to me. I never worked for him, but I mean, if he did, I'd be like, you know, you're talking about two totally different mediums, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
also, when you watch a movie, you don't see word balloons.
Yeah.
You also
Unless it's wait,
next.
in the first Hulk movie that Ang Lee didn't he have caption boxes?
He had caption boxes,
and frames in the opening sequence. Yeah.
That was annoying. Okay. Which example best illustrates condensed storytelling? Plot. We're in a middle America we're in a middle America suburban neighborhood as a man takes a big trash bag from his home and puts them in garbage cans sitting on the curb. A van zooms down the street towards the man. Which example best illustrates condensed storytelling?
Well, this one's pretty straightforward and easy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
How about the one with one panel?
Yeah.
That's it.
Hey.
I mean, this is the one where you're just kind of like, yeah, it's A. It's one freaking panel. No, it's C. 1, 2, 3, 4 panels.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hey, that's that same guy driving that van.
Yeah, it is.
yeah, it is.
All over the place.
When I did Sergeant Rock, I would do these double page spreads, or like the top panel or the bottom panel would go across double page. And I have all these things, and I call them my battle encompassing panels. And Dan loved that. I'm like, and see this is going on here, and then this is going on here, and all this stuff. And Dan thought I was a genius. Battle encompassing panels, when actually I was just doing a condensed panel.
There you go.
C looks like the George Perez version, right?
Yeah.
So it needs like
There's a little too much importance to all the steps of taking out the garbage.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. The
All
only
you
thing,
need
you know,
now
I
is
would
just-
change is like, you know, you don't get a sense of speed or action because that car or truck or whatever it is coming right at you. He should have come from the side street, and you had the smoke go down the side street, and then have it like angled as it's making that hard turn, and it's up on two wheels, and then you have smoke.
You got the shadow underneath too to show it's off the ground.
Yeah, but don't you
Kind
guys
of the way
realize-
in that B example, that third panel, you know, you could have that spinning into the panel of A, you know, left to right around that corner or something. Yeah, because it looks more out of control. And
this is the preceding panel to question number 8, with the van going from right to left.
Now we know.
Now we know what's going on, or after.
All right, nobody should fail this one. Which panel has the most dynamic action?
D.
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely D.
Crash
Yeah,
test.
I need a nap.
I know.
I need a nap after trying to analyze those storytelling.
If
Is
this
this
was
A
Shooter-
pretty much that John Buscema pose out of How to Draw Comics the Marvel
It
way? Not that
absolutely is.
bad.
Yep.
if this is Shooter who drew this, you know he's really proud of these drawings. You know, he's
It's A all the way, baby.
Yeah, it is.
No debate.
Nope. Which panel is an example of symmetrical design?
Is this an
Symmetrical
IQ test?
design.
oh, the flag of Colorado. C.
The Marvel family flag of B.
The Marvel family. Yeah, B does look like the Marvel. The
Is
Marvel.
this
Yeah,
family.
you can see the M, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is the new Pride flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
gotta be
definitely C.
Gotta be C.
Now, Billy, I got to ask, because you were so specific with the flag of Colorado, is there any resemblance, or you just made that
if you
up?
turn it, the sea has the mountain and the sea.
I have no idea.
Yeah, well, if you were
You were
looking
just
upside
so
down.
specific. I'm like, he's got to be
You're a
right.
pot smoker like Billy. You'd know the Colorado flag, Andy.
if you read a book and
that's
said
true.
comics, you know this.
I can't help it. All right, that was an easy one. Let's see, 2 left.
Oh,
Okay.
thank God.
Which panel is an example of a asymmetrical design?
Don't waste my
A.
time.
This.
It's A.
A.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess it would be because D centered and D. Yeah, A.
Yeah, it's
Man,
gotta
I
be
can't. Can we just kick Aaron for taking that long to figure this out?
Well, I was overthinking it for a minute, and then I was like, okay, what does asymmetrical actually mean? And I was like, oh yeah, duh, okay.
What? Yeah, you were overthinking. All right, last one.
Salvador
Yes.
Dali and comic book panels right there. Look at
You're
that.
afraid
You know,
Shooter's going to yell at you.
Which panel is an
example?
example of a balanced asymmetrical design?
Oh, I'd say D.
B.
Balanced.
It's gotta be.
Well, it's either A or B.
Now you're saying balanced, correct?
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
Balanced
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna
asymmetrical
say B.
design.
It's asymmetrical, so B.
I actually, out of all those, I like B the best, but I'm wondering if they're going to go A. But the fact that ball is touching the frame line really throws me. And I don't like D at all. Would you say, Graham, B?
B. B. As in
I
boy.
agree with you. I think
I want to say C because it's gay.
Well, that's also symmetrical, so that
Yeah,
wouldn't
I'm gonna
work.
go. I'm gonna go. I think
Time tunnel.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with D. D. I'm gonna go with.
no.
It says balanced.
Yeah.
I'm but
No.
It's not balanced. The
Okay.
negative space in B is
If
what
you would
balances
take
it out.
A and scoot the big ball over to the left and the ball on the right over just to the left a little bit, I would go there, but it's got to be B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again, I took geometry was enough for me in 9th grade. So
it's
Okay.
B. It's B.
Okay. So the answer they're giving.
I mean D. No, B. Yeah, it's B.
Okay. So the answer they're giving is A. I, however, am with
Yeah.
you guys. I like B as well because I think it's more interesting. But trying to get into the head of whoever came up with this, I can see why they're going with A because they're looking at it like the big ball and the little ball on the left, and then to balance it, which is so stupid.
Right.
They did the ball on the right, which why they would even have a tangent with the panel borders drive me crazy as well.
Well,
That is
in
the
fact,
stupidest thing.
the big ball is not far enough over to the left for this to be balanced.
Right. I
It's
like
actually
B.
not balanced.
But it
Yeah,
also says asymmetrical.
Yeah. Right.
Well, B's asymmetrical.
Yeah.
Right. And the balance is not a ball. The balance is the negative space.
Right.
That's the most pleasing.
Yeah,
of
B
all
is-
the
Yeah,
asymmetrical
B is
design.
Yeah,
I
B
would
looks
argue.
good.
Yeah, I would argue whoever put this test together, I'd say B was the best.
Yeah.
It's best aesthetic anyways. And also like
Hawk agrees. We have another one.
Yeah, Brohawk agrees. I was just Yeah,
and
no,
I-
this is the
and-
one.
and-
This is also the one that I was like, that can't be right.
Well, I would
because I-
also go the A and D have tangents. Like,
Yeah.
fuck that. Like you can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful. It's
I'm not going to ignore the tangents.
No, it's
Right.
awful.
If you were an
I
editor,
agree. I think B works.
if you were an editor and somebody gave you a panel of, let's say, these rolling balls or, coming after Mr. Fantastic or whatever, and you saw those tangents on the panel borders and you didn't call that, I would say that's a bad editor.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, because it almost feels like a trick question. Because if you said A or D, then they could go, aha, but there's tangents. It's like, yeah, but that wasn't the question.
Yeah, I thought it was a snowman that fell over. So what the fuck?
He's melting.
A drunk snowman.
I would though love to have when it's my turn to do the bros. I'd like to have the wives back on again, and I'd love to ask them some of these questions.
Like a
And see what they
Rorschach
have
test.
to say.
They'll love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about your wives, but mine definitely doesn't like to be embarrassed. especially on camera and on a live
Yeah,
stream.
we all love it here on the Bros, though.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. That is the storytelling test.
Whoever made
You know
this
what?
test is fired, by the way.
Right. I think also we kicked the test ass because we
Yeah.
qualified it with better insight than the
Yeah.
test actually had itself.
Yeah.
So
I think they should be Marvel as a company should be embarrassed if that's the test they use to determine who's got the chops to be an editor, because there's a lot more to it than that. How about giving us some plot problems? How do you solve that?
Oh no, I
What
agree.
about
And like I
Thomas?
said, maybe
The proper use of who's WHOS apostrophe S or WHOSE, you know.
right.
There's,
Now, I
there's a
think-
million different things that they should know.
I
well, you know
think-
what? Before I left Marvel, or before I was asked to leave Marvel, their editors didn't proofread their own material anymore. They had Ralph Macchio and they had Tom Brevoort, the senior editors. They were the only ones that were allowed to read the plots and okay them and proofread everything. Everything.
Is there
So
any evidence
everything
that
that was
Ralph Macchio?
every page that was published went through their eyes to check spelling and word balloons and pronunciation?
Supposedly, yeah. They all had assistants. Like Ralph had 2 assistants. CB was one of them. So I'm sure that some of it fell on them.
Well,
In the case of
yeah,
Ralph, I imagine all of it did.
I would like to see some evidence that Ralph Macchio ever did anything while working at Marvel.
It's true.
Right.
And he's also the one that never got fired because he didn't care. He didn't need the money because his family's very wealthy. So he didn't give a shit.
Right.
Oh, really?
But he
I
had
didn't know that.
the sanitation business.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
So he didn't care if he
The
got fired.
sanitation business. Uh-huh.
Let's see,
Yeah.
Macchio,
Yeah, do
Italian,
the math. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long Island.
yeah, Staten Island, I think.
Oh,
But you know what? From what I hear, Frank Miller's favorite editor was Ralph.
Probably because he let him do whatever he wanted and didn't
yeah,
say
that's
anything.
definitely for sure.
I
There you
worked
go.
with Ralph, and I enjoyed working with him because
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I found
You
him
know,
to be
he
a
did not
complete dick
micromanage
all the
you.
time.
He
He
hated
what, Aaron?
Shooter, man. He hated Jim Shooter. Holy cow.
Aaron, what did you say about Ralph?
I'll tell you this. Look, I'll tell you a
He didn't
story.
micromanage.
I've told this before, but I was always trying to get work, and Ralph was always messing with me. You know what I mean? Instead of just going, I don't like your stuff, well, he'd mess with you. And so I did this Ultimate X-Men thing for Wizard Magazine. Best piece of work I ever did in my life. It was great. And Danny Mickey inked it. It just looked really, really good. And I didn't even solicit it because I was already in the X office at that point. Ralph Macchio calls me up, leaves a message on my machine, right? So I get home, I see the blinking thing, I turn the message on, it says, "Hey, Aaron, this is Ralph Macchio. I wanted to let you know that I saw your Ultimate X-Men project and I thought it looked really great." And then he pauses and says, "But that doesn't mean I'm going to give you any work." And then he hung up.
Oh,
That,
shit.
that is a dick. Okay, that's what that is.
I never had a
Wow.
problem with Ralph. I worked with him a few times.
Yeah, me too.
Most of my time over at Marvel was Ralph Macchio and Bob Harris. So those were the 2 editors I spent the most time with. And I worked with Ralph on all the Ultimate stuff, all the way up to the firing. And that man didn't stand up for me. So screw that dude.
Yeah. Well, I think like most editors, if you were Ralph's guy, if he picked you out or whatever, because I'm sure Ron Garney had a great relationship with him.
Sure.
I don't know, but it's like, then you're probably fine. But my understanding was that he would like, who was it? Was it Ernie Colon or somebody? I can't remember. He was messing with somebody and told them somebody was looking for work. And this was an established pro. I can't remember exactly who it was now, but the story goes that Ralph told him, "Okay, I need to see some sample pages though first, you know." And so he made the guy do sample pages for free and then joked around the office saying, "I'm never going to hire this clown. I just messing with him." You know, you just don't do stuff like that. That's just
Wow.
a dick does stuff.
Oh, no, that's not cool.
Actually, now I think about it, Ralph was my first editor at Marvel.
I never worked with him other than just getting crap from him.
Do you guys remember, did any of you guys work for Craig Anderson?
Yeah, I said, who's I first?
He was Ralph's assistant. Yeah.
I worked for Craig.
So did I, yeah.
Gosh.
You know,
Am I
Craig
gonna-
is related to, is it Bill Anderson that draws Marmaduke?
It's Marmaduke. Yeah.
Brad
Yeah.
Anderson.
I got a
Brad
I got a
Anderson.
Craig Anderson story. I'll tell you guys off the air. I can't.
What was
tell
that,
you.
Graham?
It's his son.
Brad is.
Brad is the father.
Oh, okay. Craig's his son. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
knew they were related. Oh, that's cool.
Well, I remember
Craig
the
was another
first
guy I
time-
never had a problem with because he was Ralph's assistant, but he was a full editor as well. Because when I
Yeah.
did stuff for him, he was a full editor.
You know
No,
who
he's a
jerked
good
me
guy,
around was Dan Daly. Did you guys, or not Dan Daly, Don Daly?
Don Daly.
Don Daly. Don Daly was kind of psycho, but sort of in a fun way. Like, wasn't he the one that always had the lights out in his office? It was always dark. He was the
He had
Punisher
lights
guy,
out in his
right?
head, if you
Yeah,
ask
he
me.
was Punisher, right?
He did what, Graham?
I said he had the lights out in his head, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, he told me, I showed him samples one time. I think he was editing Conan at one point, but I could be wrong about that. And he asked me to, I showed him some samples and he says, yeah, give me a call Friday. And I'll see if I have anything. And I go, oh, great. So I'm working at this little ad agency in New Jersey and I got to sneak away and use their phone to call them. And, I can't get to them, and I leave a message, so a couple more days go by, I call, leave a message again. I eventually get through after about 4 or 5 different calls. And he goes, why do you keep bothering me?
Oh,
I said, because you told me to call Friday and you haven't called me back.
Oh,
God.
oh.
Needless
Marcus
to
says
say,
Chuck
I
did
didn't
a
get
lot of
any-
work with him. If that was in the 80s, which I believe it is from where you said you were working, I think he was working on maybe the black and white Conan magazine.
Yeah,
Because
it
wasn't
was-
Chuck
yeah, it was
writing
the
that in the
early
80s?
Early
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah. So, well, everybody, that was a fun show. We're going to be wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Everybody here, of course, has projects, live campaigns. They are in the description below, so you can check them out. Click the links, go back everybody's stuff. And
Wait
of
a
course,
sec,
I've
Andy.
got what's that?
Wait a sec. What happened in this day in comic book history?
Oh, you know what?
Andy,
Let me
what
remove this.
happened in
I
this
totally
great
forgot to
comic
do
book
that.
history?
Wait, I'm going to do it real fast. Hold on.
All right.
Wow.
This day
Speak among
in
yourself.
comic book history.
This day comic book history.
I knew there was something I forgot to do. I was so excited to do that test.
I'm
What?
really upset about that test now. It's probably going to bother me for like a week.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I think so. If you guys want to go find it on Facebook where I got it and look at people's responses, I think it was Greg Wright that posted it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
But where'd you find it,
Let's
Andy?
see.
First of all,
Wait,
Andy,
wait,
first
before
of
you
all,
do that,
where's
whoever did you guys ever want to be an editor? Did anybody have? I never
Well,
did.
I asked Dan DiDio about it once because I was sitting there thinking, at what point am I going to age out here? I was like, I go, what does it pay? And honestly, if they weren't in Burbank, because I knew how expensive it was to live in
Yeah.
Burbank, I might have taken him up on it.
Really?
'Cause he-
Okay.
I mean-
I did think about it back before I even got in the business when I was still at the Thibert school, just from, the teachers that were there and Joe and stuff. I kind of thought, kind of like Aaron, like, not that I would age out, but it kind of seemed like a progression, like, okay, draw comics into my 40s, whatever. And then if there was a position that opened up and, if I was able to move and whatnot, I would probably entertain it. Just,
Well,
if I could still draw some on the side, because once again, this was like, late 80s. And I was thinking of the guys like Joe that became an editor, but still kept their hand drawing stuff and like
Right.
did piano and stuff.
Well, they'd abuse you because they did that to Golden when Golden was art director. He did probably more work in comics when he was the art director at DC than he was freelancing.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
I think if I was a writer, I think editorial would be great, right? Because like writing doesn't take as much time as drawing. And if you think about the Lin Wein, Marv Wolfman thing, like always one of them would be editor either at Marvel or DC, and they would give each other work. So they constantly had work. So I thought like if you were going to be a writer or you were a writer, editorial makes sense. As an artist, it doesn't make any sense because you probably wouldn't draw that much.
Okay, so this day in comic book history, there's a few things. I'm going to go with. There's some Marvel character / I guess you could say item debuts, and I'll just go with the first two. The first one they list Avengers number 66, 1969, saw adamantium apparently.
Oh yeah. I've got that. That's the one where they're in the house and Giant Man is Goliath is reaching up like this, and Iron Man's trying to get out of his grip right through the staircase.
But what's on the cover? Is that the cover you mean,
That's the
or
cover. Yeah, it's
Oh,
a great
okay.
Buscema cover.
Hmm.
And then this is probably another one you have. Scarecrow debuted in Dead of Night number 11, 1975.
I have that in near mint condition.
All right, let's see. Let's go with the trifecta because now I just want to know if you have this one.
I
And
have the Avengers in near mint too, by the way. I'm just saying.
I kind of figured. In Hands
that is a
of
cool cover.
in Master of Kung Fu 31, 1975. Hopefully I pronounced this right. Pavane, Pavane, debuted.
I only have one Master of Kung Fu issue, and it's number 19 where Man Thing guest starred. And I do have that in near mint, but that's the only Shang-Chi I have.
Well, that is it. So there you go. You got the comic book history stuff. So
All right.
beautiful. Now we'll get back to the finishing out. Everybody has campaigns. Links are in the description below. Mine is the sign-up page for Lilineth Infernal Conflict. We're getting closer. Guys, go sign up. Link is in the description below as well. It's going to be a great story expanding on the world of Kor-Drath, featuring Lilineth and a standalone story with her. So go check it out. We're going to have a minifigure of Lilineth, a 3-inch size and a 5-inch size. There's my main cover.
No,
And of course, the
haven't seen that.
Vampirella
Yeah.
homage. Oh, thank you.
Very nice. Look at that. I love your little action figure things you're doing. Those are great.
Mhm.
Thank you. So yeah, guys, go check it out and sign up. Looking to launch it in June.
Wait, back up,
So-
Andy. There's a little video of your statue. Is it like a turnaround?
Yeah, it's real fast, but yeah,
I'll
I'll
play
play
it.
it
Let's
real
see it.
quick.
Let's see it.
Go full screen. Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's
One more
very
time.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, wait, freeze it at the butts there.
Yeah, freeze
I
it
will.
up.
Freeze it for Billy.
I'll tell you.
Hold
when.
on.
Yeah.
I win.
Freeze it.
Let's go. Hey.
There we go. Look at that. You could crack walnuts with that thing.
Yeah,
Hey,
baby.
now.
Yeah.
And you
So-
didn't hide it with the tail.
No.
Hell no.
Hell
Yeah.
no, bro.
So there you go. Designed off of my drawing, just like the Kor-Drath was.
Nice.
So,
Look
Nice,
at that.
bud.
An instant classic, I'll tell you
Yep.
that.
so
Very
go
nice.
check it out. And there you go, guys. Next week it is Art to Bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
And I am 10 subs away from a milestone, which I believe is either cracking over Aaron or tying. So let's get those
Oh.
10 subs, guys.
Dang it.
Do
I
Don't
just
do
put
it.
like 30 new tags on my YouTube channel. So I'm coming back. I'm coming back strong, I hope.
Yeah. We learned how to do it today.
Thanks,
That's
Dan.
right.
Thanks to Andy. He sabotaged
There
me
you
to
go.
help us. It was beautiful.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, everybody have a good night. Thank you for watching. Of course, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week on that dude, Art to Bear's channel. Bye-bye, everybody.